What's up there, Work To Game? Chris here, and I am actually going to talk a little bit about what I think about Heaven on High, especially being compared to Palace of the Dead. So let's jump into that. I do first of all want to thank our Patreons. You guys are incredible. If you guys would like to thank a Patreon down in the comments below, definitely feel free to do so. Otherwise, maybe even consider becoming one. And so let's go ahead and jump in. Now, the first things I want to talk about is what did Palace of the Dead need to improve on? Not to say it wasn't good content. What areas had room to be improved on so that we can talk about whether or not Heaven on High hit all of those things. The first thing is that it could be incredibly repetitive. So you need to have more variety in the layout and the look of levels, the different monsters that you can run into those levels, and the boss fights. You need to ideally take advantage of having a better, music background, all of that. And then you need to have a great system to take it out of the game. So out of that kind of alternate progression. So you need to have good loot, good things like that out in the world. Those are areas that it did, but it could do better. Now, things that it already did very well, that it was fun content for solo all the way up to 4-man parties, that it encouraged alternate progression, could be used as a form of leveling, could be used as a form of just taking a break from other content, that there was kind of the ability to go out and get decent loot from it for people that don't want to go sit in Savage and everything. You could get achievements from it. It was new and different and exciting, and there was a way to progress through all the floors. It was very defined on what it was, had a very clear alternate progression, and you could get in there and you could just knock it out. So with that, what does Heaven on High do that Palace of the Dead didn't? Well, off of that list, just off the top of my head, it just says, okay, there is a variety of levels. I love the up and the down of the stairs. I love how often it kind of changes, the skin of it, just the look of it. I wish there was even more to that. It takes a huge advantage of of all of the different music throughout the game. I've been told that a lot of the music that I think is new and different is actually just music from fights that maybe I haven't done enough that I recognize it. If so, that's really clever. They pull all kinds of boss mechanics, fate mechanics, mob mechanics from all over the game, and they toss them in, both in levels and in bosses. It's all stuff. It's a little mix of what you've seen before, a little mix of things that you maybe haven't seen before, and it is incredibly inventive. They did do a great job of Palace of the Dead. When you died on a really high level, it was a huge effort to come back up. They did a great job of saying, let's just shorten the primary game to 30 levels, and then that way everybody could just start on 21 and progress right into the good stuff. So it actually changed the pacing, which I didn't really think of as a problem of Palace of the Dead at the time, but now that I've seen this is way better. The loot on the outside world is awesome. I love that the loot sacks, while they can screw you with fireworks and confetti and level 5 materia and all that, we've all seen it. There's also like diadem minions, and there's a mount and haircuts and all this really great stuff. I love that it's these silvers up to level 30, these golds up to level 70, and then these like platinums beyond that. So there's kind of this encouragement to go up that high, because going up that high is not the most efficient experience per hour if you're using it for alternate progression. Blasting through that 21 to 30, burning your pomanders as soon as you see a use, just burn it, reset, burn it, reset. That is the fastest experience per hour, because you're getting that kind of 1.4 million experience per pull, as opposed to I was getting I think like 1.6. It felt almost identical. It may have even been identical. I just leveled up and it scaled slightly for the higher level ones. So I think that overall it did a lot of things very, very well that Palace of the Dead needed to expand on. So I think across the board it improved on where Palace of the Dead was. It is everything we needed it to be. And the question is now, could it have improved from there? Well, I think we could see more variety. I love that there's levels without walls and all that. That's awesome, but imagine if there were just double-sized rooms and triple-sized rooms and, things like that. So a little more flex in the level design would be great. A little more flex in the appearances of the levels would be great. Even more mob types, but I think that with the next expansion, when we get to a 5.3 and we get an update to Deep Dungeon again, I think that there will be additional mob types from the new dungeons. There will be additional music from the new dungeons. There will be additional skins from the new dungeons. So I think the next version may have that as kind of shoe-in changes that could be made. I think that there's a lot of really kind of clever mechanics in the way you have integration between different classes, and you have all these different items. It's a good use of Phoenix Downs. I wish they stacked. Kind of frustrating that they don't, but this is a chance to use a Phoenix Down that's probably been in your inventory for multiple years. I do like the shards. I like that those can buy, there's a neat minion out there, there's stuff you can buy. I think there's a lot going on well, but other areas that it could improve is that it would be better if it was easier to have more saves. Having 2 saves is kind of rough. Maybe have solo saves and things like that. Engage with that score screen more. Don't send me off to the lodestone to do all that. Do it in-game. Show me my ranking. Show me where I'm placed. Have my rankings for all my individual classes. Maybe have achievements for hitting certain scores across all classes. Things like that. So I think that there's a lot of depth they could add to it. They could add more loot. They could add more things, but I think it's a step towards what we would call like an M+ system, which is something that we've seen in WoW that and Diablo and all these other games that Brian and I talk about all the time, where you've got these affixes that can take place on each level. Imagine if Dungeons had that in trade for bonus loot. So I think that there is a lot that's done really, really well here. I think that we could definitely see it improve in 5.0 by making it bigger, broader. I don't know. I think that that's really kind of my initial impressions. Just thinking it through here, thinking about kind of what I think of the content and what it's doing well across the board, I would have to say I'm impressed. I think that the level of improvement that Palace of the Dead to Heaven on High is way outpaces Diadem and a Relic system turning into the first round of Eureka. Maybe that's another topic. Maybe that should come out here soon. So I think that across the board, I've been really impressed this week. I'm really impressed to see what people can pull off as far as single play. I wish they had it balanced in a way where it wasn't just red mages making it that far, but I get why it is. And so I'd love to know what you guys think. What do you think that it needs more of? What do you think that it could do differently? What do you think that it's doing really well? And have you gotten a chance to really spend the amount of time on it that you've wanted to? And if so, if not, are you going to? Is it something that you see yourself doing as an alternate form of progression, as an alternate form of gameplay, to just take a break from everything that we've been doing? I think this really rounds out 4.3 in a nice way. Takes a lot of pressure off 4.36, but I am really looking forward to that. And that's really it. This has been Chris with Work To Game. I just wanted to kind of get this conversation started. I look forward to seeing what you guys think in those comments below, and I will talk to you next time.
Hey, Chris, your shirt's pretty looking.
You know, honestly, it doesn't have Work To Game anywhere on it, but I like to support the channel.
Yeah.
So,
well, you know, you can do that and also have a good looking shirt.
I don't really want that shirt. You think maybe it could be a different shirt? Well, cool. I think I'm going to click on one of the links somewhere around here, and I'm going to go see what we got.
Hello. It's really, really, really good.
You guys have a great day.
Take care.
You probably have a pretty shirt on.